My name is Jill Sciarappo. I am from Intel. I've been at Intel for 25 years, mostly in the IoT group. And the reason I bring that up is because that's where autonomous driving started. I'd like to thank the professor for inviting us here today and for the fabulous party last night. It was really great.
The point that I didn't make earlier, this is really important because this is what is available beginning sort of now to do things now without us having to go into all the political fights and things that we're going to have to do, as was mentioned previously, to get to the next thing.
Right. So being at a company like Intel that's owned by shareholders, it's always very important that we show the viability of the way we're investing money. And in the IoT group, we've been through many products and portfolios that have started and had big investments, they've had big teams, and they've eventually been shut down because they can't make money. That doesn't mean you don't take the risk and try. I mean, there are things like wearables and drones, and I could probably go across all 10 of my fingers. So as an employee of a company like that, it's very important we look at how we make money while we are developing the technology. Hence our title, the driver assistance, the road to ADAS. So let's just start with a quick video here.
Hold
on for a second.
There's Michael. Michael's my son.
No, it's me. It's me, it's not Michael. I promise.
We always like Michael.
It's Michael, not me. Dun, 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 dun. The reason I like to show that video is because that's the view the public has of autonomous driving, and that's what they think we're all doing. Right? You'll be able to get in your car and let your and we have Leslie's our demo owner. We probably get one call a week to bring a car and have it drive around autonomously. I'm sure you went through that this week. It's not the reality. And back in 2015, 2016, this is what people had as a vision for autonomous vehicles. And if we went back and we did the research at the amount of money that was spent during this time frame on acquisitions and small little engineering teams coming out of universities and teams to fund or kick off the Ford Autonomous Group or the GM Autonomous Group or Intel. And our CEO went out and bought a company for $15.3 billion out of Israel. A very small company of 600 to 700 people. This was the vision back in 2015, 2016. So there's been a lot of money put into this industry. And as a person and as a team whose livelihoods, paychecks, retirement, kids' college funds depend on our paychecks, it's very important to figure out how to make that money worth what was spent. So this is where we think we are now. And if you look at the articles now, there's a big reality check going on in the industry. We come from Chandler, Arizona, where the Waymo bans are all over. And consumers are starting to throw rocks at the Waymo bans because they don't understand why you should be able to test your technology on public roads. Fair point. Especially when we haven't proven a way to verify them yet and ensure that they're safe, right, Kelsey? So right now, as those of us who collect our paychecks here, we're in the trough of disillusionment. We're not sure how we're going to achieve that last 5%. And I would submit to say nobody is. There's no one who's been able to put an AV out there without a safety driver and let it drive around remotely. or by itself. It's just not happening. That's the reality of the situation. So how are we going to keep the funding we need, keep our head count, keep our spending that we need to get to this plateau of productivity, or start making money on the investments we've made? This is my concern as a strategist right now. The other thing is, any one of these, and I could probably have put 12 up here, any issue up here could completely tank this industry in one day. A death in Tempe could tank this industry in one day. I don't know about you guys who do this for a job, but when that Uber accident happened, we all just fell to the floor, right? Insurance company can tank this industry in one day. Regulators could tank this industry in one day. Awareness, public awareness is something we really need to work on in this industry. The user experience, how does someone get in the car? There is no whole lot of investigation or work being done there across the world. We know because we're talking about it. Anyway, we need to be aware this can all affect us. Wrong way, sorry. So for the purposes of this quick talk, we all know this, right? Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. I'm just putting it up for the like it. But we have to. Okay, just, Mr. Professor, terminology is a big issue in this industry, by the way. And SAE needs to work on it, and we've all got, okay, thank you. Okay, now, product evolution. This is one thing I really like to talk to, especially kids about. They say, oh, we don't need math. Okay, let's talk about math for a second. We've kind of broken this up simplistically into 3 different product groups. We all talk about autonomous vehicles. We know the sensors that we have on them. We know how they work. Actually, OEM ADAS, all of the vehicles you have outside, I assume, are the most advanced ADAS vehicles, correct? The ones we walk by? Profound engineering has gone into those, and it's the same math that's really driving our autonomous vehicles. It's important that we support that work. But in addition, Mobileye also has an aftermarket ADAS product that you can put on pretty much any car out there. My car's 20 years old, it's worth $500. I have an aftermarket ADAS system on it. And it has profoundly changed the way I drive. In fact, my daughter I have 3 daughters, by the way, they're all teenagers, so if anyone's taught kids how to drive, it's by far the most harrowing experience I've ever had to go through. Staying in the lines is a hard thing for kids. Understanding how to brake before you rear end someone is a hard thing for kids. My daughter really wanted a Jeep Wrangler. And we said they have no safety, like 0 safety features on them, and I do this for a living, you can't get a Jeep Wrangler. So she said, well, my husband said, if you get all A's in all AP classes, you can get any car you want. She was a B student, so we were like, okay, we're totally safe. The girl got all A's in all AP classes in an all-girls school. So we had to get her this Jeep Wrangler, and I called my co-workers at Mobileye. I said, I'm scared sick about this. They flew someone down and they put this system on her car. She hated it. Beeps at me all the time, again. She came to me a couple months ago and she said, let me tell you, it has totally made me a safer driver. And I'm better off for it. Now all of her friends want the beeper. So there are ways that we can start implementing this technology and saving lives, and they're out there. We need to educate, and we need to be thankful for this. So I put this slide in because all 3 of those products we just looked at, this is what they see. And it's important for us to understand it's all math, right? The computer's not making any mental decisions like we do, or reasonable decisions. It's all the same math. The cameras detect what's out there. And if you look, I'm sure you guys all know this, so I'm going to click through this very quickly. This is what the camera sees on the left and the decisions it's making. And on the right, this is the mapping technology. And as you all know, everyone who's got autonomous vehicles in the industry now has to do mapping on their own. It's a very inefficient process, and if I could wave a wand, I'd say let's find a way to do crowdsourced mapping to enable AVs globally. It's part of people's IP, it won't happen, but it's a very important part of autonomous driving. The third thing is, how are we going to measure these vehicles and make sure they're safe without having people give up our IP or their data? One of the programs Intel has talked about is responsibility sensitive safety. It's a terrible name, we know that. But basically it's a way to formalize human driving notions. However, you can teach a computer ones and zeros and how to make decisions on the math we just saw they do around the cars, but you can't teach them the social contracts, or we haven't been able to figure that out yet. That, oh no, you go first. Oh please, Kelsey, what did you say? You need to get there much faster than I do. You go ahead. Right? There are these social contracts that we do with our micro emotions that we need to figure out how to enable a car to pretend to do. So humanizing notions of safe driving, keeping a safe distance. Someone cuts in. We all have a word when someone cuts right in front of us, don't we? And those of us who have those systems on our car, those beepers, your car does too. Your car screams, jerk! You came right in front of me and cut me off and didn't leave safe driving distance. The third one is, what's the appropriate response and how do you perform in those? Okay, so let's move on to ADAS. That map is for autonomous driving. We actually have this available on cars today. And if any of you are going to buy a new car, actually, how many of you have ADAS systems on your vehicles today? Wow, that's like the most I've ever seen for a room. It's really good. Go figure, given the audience, right? But, this is really important. 80% of crashes involve inattention 3 seconds prior to an accident. 3 seconds, right? When those cars are giving you a warning, they're giving you an extra second or two of time, and that can prevent 90% of errors. We call it the Mobileye moment, when you've almost rear-ended someone and your car's screaming at you because you aren't paying enough attention. You probably would have caught it, but this gives you an extra second. And I loved your insurance stats. Yes, costs have gone up because technology has also gone up, but we're saving lives and we're reducing injuries with technology available today.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Just what you got up, just to back up some of what Mobileye's saying here. We've analyzed $4 billion in commercial auto claims using a tool we have called Loss Detect. We've found that over 2/3 of those claims could have been prevented through technology that exists today. Not level 4, not level 5. What are level 4? This is, available, technology available today can help prevent these crashes. So this is great stuff, and it's today.
Which is the reason why we have a car sitting out there and we ask them to bring them so that at least we can all get started with what's available and then move on to what we got to do next.
And again, for those of us who collect a paycheck in this industry, we need to find those business models that support the evolution of this technology today. We need to get paid for the engineers and the research today, because otherwise these programs that are leading us to AVs are going to be cut off our we call it zero-based budget, but you know what I'm talking about. Again, even just more data. Hey, is David Kidd in the room? There you are. Here's your data. I didn't tell you it was here, but IIHS ran some studies, and just forward collision warning alone can reduce rear-end crashes by 27%, 20% with injuries, and claims rates on personal injuries by 40%. And the data goes on, and I'm not going to beat a horse, but if any of you are buying a new car, please make sure you ask for these safety features that are available today. It would be like going to a car dealership and buying a car without a seatbelt. That's how comparable I think it is today. And let's look at what's available today on that note. Some have it standard, forward collision warnings, pedestrian warnings, lane departure, blind spot. Some cost extra. We'll sure pay for that media system, but we won't pay for safety. Come on. And some don't have it at all. It's not even an option. We are working with some dealerships to say, if you're selling cars that don't have it at all, whether they're used or not, offer people that Mobileye aftermarket system. At least make it available, and let's start educating the public. This is that system I was telling you about we put in my daughter's car. This is the new evolution that's available. And I bring this up because as far as business models go, I want to talk about this a little further. With that camera that we've installed on the car, you can start to find this kind of data on roadways. We can start replacing companies that drive around cities looking for potholes, identifying where manhole covers are, giving city managers the help of their infrastructure. We can now use autonomous vehicles that have cameras on them to do this kind of work and create new business models. We can use cars to do Amber Alerts. They can look all over the city now that we've got cameras on cars and tell us if there's an abducted child going down the road. We need to think beyond autonomous vehicles and think about business models and ways we can make money on these vehicles today. Okay, so we just ran this data yesterday, and I found this profoundly interesting. We talk about level 4 and level 5 a lot. Look at this is predicted growth on level 4 and level 5, and let me tell you, after doing this for 20 years in this industry, these assumptions are always very high. Okay, so let's take this with a big grain of salt. Level 4 and 5 cars will be at about 11% in 2029. So 11% of vehicles sold in 2029 are predicted to have level 4 and level 5 features, if all goes well. But 47% of cars in 2029 will have little to no collision avoidance systems at all, still. We need to understand this, and we need to figure out how we continue to make money. Okay, here's my last slide. When it comes to regulating safety, it took the braking systems over 40 years to become standard on vehicles. It took airbags over 40 years. Patented in 1953, not standardized till 98. And seatbelts invented in 1959, not mandated till 95. 30 years. And seatbelts, some aren't even required to be worn in some states. However, this is a really long time to try and mandate stuff that we know saves lives. And my hope is that we don't wait this long to mandate some of these ADAS features that aren't expensive and we know they work and they save lives today. And those features will help us pave that road to autonomous driving. Thank you.